is in a different sector than the 99, because they're on the opposite side of Route 3. Is that correct? Because it appears the line of demarcation is Route 3.
Yeah, you're right.
Going down, yes, you have the, yes, the left
Why
side.
isn't it in the same one?
Well,
Well, because, like you said, population-wise and how that's
Right.
divided with the
But next you got
neighborhoods
the
and whatever,
commercial sector.
you're cut.
Yeah, but I guess that was then, before the town was the way it is today, and I wonder if it warrants going back and looking at it again, based on, you know, you just look down Route 3 and look at it, and the same thing applies if you look at what's on the west side now that was never there on the west side. Oh my God, the west side is so totally changed. And even Route 3 has changed quite a bit, and it's gonna change again.
Why
No,
could,
we've thought in the past about dividing the west into an additional sector, so you'd actually have a west one and two, so that when we run the stats, we don't have to run them to the extent we do right now, a little further with the advent of the plaza and the shops that are down there, because that's the majority of our business.
That's right.
With the arrests, you're gonna find most of the arrests are from Kohl's and Target and down there for
Right.
shoplifting, and not in the other part of the sector. So we've thought about, you know, in the last year or so, dividing that into a west one, west
Right.
two.
But I also think it would benefit that west side, because for a while, if you recall, we had a number of people here from, what was it, off of Corvo and
Yeah,
all,
no, I agree.
you know, and that to me warrants us, you know, looking at it again and saying,
If I had the bodies, I would
Yeah.
have a north.
no,
west
I'm just
side.
bringing that out because that
There
was,
needs to be.
I don't know, I look at the map, and in all honesty, I look at the map and I see three sectors. I see south, north, and west. Now, if we
needs
look
to stay
at,
out there.
if we look at east one, we're talking swamps and we're
Right.
talking wooded area, there's nothing there. But when I look at this map, and I just did a quick simple south, north, and west, it's divided up into three sectors. Now, if one is busier than the other, so be it. That's where you have people help out and cover and go back and forth, but I just think it's complicating things by making it S1, S2, S3, and N1, N2, but N1 is really West 1 and covers part of, well, I look at it and I don't know what you have for calls for service, but I think that this town should be divided up into three, just based on the way the town is shaped, and we have the river that divides the east and west side, and it just makes sense to me, it should be three sectors. And if we have extra, then we have an extra floater, or whatever you wanna call it. It's just, when I look at these numbers, if we were to add this, and I'm not, you know, beating you up over this, I'm just trying to understand this. S1, 2, and 3 is one reporting area. North 1, 2, and east 1 is another one. And then west is another one. Then that would make sense as to adding these numbers up. You'd add 42, 104, and 46, right? For the south, that would be calls for service. And then you add N1, 2, and east 1, those three would be calls for service. And then the west side would be all by itself for calls for service. And I think that would be easier to understand, digest, and move things around. I know some areas of town are more congested than the other, but it's just part of the way the town is laid out. And calls for
I guess
service.
I would ask, who would it be easier for to digest? Because the public, I'm sure didn't even probably realize that we had sectors like this. Our officers know where the sectors are. I'm not sure the benefit of redistricting. I mean, because
All right.
what I'm saying to you is, if I may, like I said, we have S1, 2, and 3. If I'm truly gonna break down stats as we look at and wanna find out where the hot sectors are or whatever, I'm gonna, if I redo it in the computer and I say, okay, just give me the south. I'm gonna have to extrapolate a lot more to try to figure out where in those are the actual calls coming from.
But I thought that's where that pin map comes in with the crime report, that it
That
will
they-
pinpoint
That-
everything where you've
But
got.
that's only public, that's only maybe 12 or so designated crimes that are showing up on the PIN map. Not all of these, not like, for instance, not everything we have here probably shows up in the PIN map.
Can it? I mean, what do they do, just do major crimes?
Yes. I think that's the way it was set up with Captain Cecilio. I think it's just a certain number of crimes that show up there.
Well,
So what I'm saying is, in our system, when we pull it up, and I break it down, you know, and I look at it and go, all right, the south is really large, where is the major activity in the south? If we redistrict like that, it's not a problem, we know it's the south, but if you wanna look further, it's gonna cause you more work as opposed to when we break it down now in the system.
I would think it would be, I mean, if everybody knows, if everybody within the organization or the agency knows where, you know, what S1, 2, and 3 are, when the address comes up, they should be able to put a pin on the map. I mean, I just think it makes more sense to me, maybe not to you or the department. And, I mean, you guys can do it that way, but, and that raises another question about this $1,500 a year for this crime report. Maybe that needs to be revisited to see what can be put in and what cannot be put in. I mean, if we look at this list that we have for UCR calls, right, for crimes, I mean, I don't know that, I just,
I could put all of these on there with simple keystrokes. There's a designated number in our system, there's a letter in our system that when you push, it searches for that letter. And those that we've so designated a certain letter, it'll push out. I could go from this list from top to bottom and make that designator and it'll send everything on this list out.
you're talking about the crime,
The stats that you have in the
Yeah.
crime reporting,
right?
when our system pushes that out, it looks for a certain designator. And when it finds that designator, that's what gets pushed out.
Okay.
I can go in there personally and reset the designators. I can start with, right here, the DWI, and end with the town ordinance down there. And I can make them all reflect that designator. So when it gets pushed, these would all show up in there.
All right.
It's a matter of,
But currently, if the way I understood it, N1 and W1, North 1 and West
West
1,
one.
that's the coverage for one car. Or that's,
so,
the questions and the answers that we've got in the past is N1 covers W1 when needed.
That's what we were told.
And I'm not holding you to somebody else's explanation, but
I'll tell you that the north car, for the midnight shift comes in, and the sergeant says, you're north, you're south. If we don't have a west, then the south is getting S1, 2, and 3. And the north is getting N1, N2, and West 1.
so the west car has to cover N1.
All of the north and the west. If there's no designated west car, and it's been said to you, the north car will cover the north and the west, he gets all of the north as we so designated,
I
and
don't think
the
I said
entire
that
west
last
side.
year at the budget committee.
But since we have a complement of 13 patrol officers, we are patrolling 3 cars, correct?
Not across the board.
Based on shift coverage?
Right.
Okay.
Some we are. There are some that have, what I'll call the 4-car complement, it's a 3 in 1. So you have a north, a south, a west, and a supervisor.
Supervisor.
And then some you have a supervisor, and then you have 2. You don't end up with 3 patrolmen. And then when that happens, somebody's getting the south, somebody's getting N1, N2, and all of the west.
But I guess I didn't realize, all right, I've been giving misinformation, that I thought it was N1 and W1, West 1.
that was one car. N1
Yeah.
and W1 was one car coverage.
And not N2.
That's,
Not in my book.
well, I know, but this is the information.
N1, N2, and W1.
That's not the information.
N1, N2, and W1?
That would, if you don't have a west side designated, that car, the northwest, would be N1, N2, W1.
All right, so when we have, I guess we're going back to ground zero on having 3 cars.
3 cars?
Right.
Then,
So we're looking at, if we have 3
right.
and 1, okay,
And
then N1, N2, and East 1 would be one route, S1, S2, and S3 would be another route, and W1 would be another route.
correct.
What about E1?
That's,
That's
yes,
the-
that's,
the north.
Majority has.
that's N1 and N2
Yeah.
and East 1. Right,
Yes.
so this is what I drew as 1, this is what I drew as 2, and this is 3. So you still can, if you only have 2 and 1, you can still designate it and have them cover people who are moving all around all the time anyway. And we'll talk about this in non-public, I think, because of the strategies that are involved with
Right.
crime fighting.
Yeah, I think you're limited to how much discussion you can have about it. Okay, how are we doing with the,
Yeah,
I think so.
are you not ready? No?
No, I haven't got.
Okay, we'll move right along. The next item is the copier project.
Okay.
Do you explain
Although that,
what happened with that?
Okay, where I jumped in on this, Francine was asked to look at the copier contract and look at going to the town.
Yes, I made the suggestion that we look at the town and see if we could bundle all of them together and see if we could get a better price.
They won't do that. There's no better price by saying the town hall has some and somebody else has some. What they did is they restructured ours. And currently, we pay $885 a month. That, under their new agreement, if you so choose to go with it, it'll drop to $640 a month. So we lower it by $245 a month, which a year is $2,940 savings. And they actually up the amount of copies that we can make from 15,000 monthly to 20,000. So we're gonna get more copies, and they dropped the monthly payments to $245.
Does that work for the commission? Go ahead, you have a question?
No, I don't have a question.
Commissioner
I don't
Corley?
have a question.
Okay. I say it's a good thing.
Okay, and my question is, I'm not sure who would sign the contract agreement. I don't know if that's been done by the chief in the past, or if that has to come through the commission. So I have it here, because what has happened, we've gone outside the contract has expired. So right now, we're still paying the $885 until this is signed and executed, and when that is, then it'll drop to the $640. So that needs to be done if we're gonna go with that.
Well,
I'm
I
just not
see-
sure who signs that.
Well, I see that you signed the variable payments addendum at one time in 2008. So why wouldn't it be you again?
Well, I mean,
You're asking about signing the agreement?
Yes.
Correct.
Do you have any problem with the
No.
chief, and with Captain Daigle? He previously had signed. You need a motion to
He has
authorize that?
authorization to do that, too.
You need an authorization to make that change?
Yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to authorize that change,
I so moved.
okay?
Second, second.
Okay, any discussion with regard to that? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Can you just state your motion, please,
All right.
to authorize
I move we authorize